Okay. So yeah, so that's just something I'll need to go and take a look at the operations at some point. Um, yeah, so that's sort of the flow. Is now you'll see that you can't um, do tasks that are for that follow on from these until these two are done.
Okay.
Likewise, it won't show you any tasks that are going to take longer than your workday. So if, for example, you have a task that this or that these tasks finish up, um, let's say an hour before the end of the workday, and that is customizable on our side. I think it defaults to an 8-hour day, and then if you specify something else, you can change it. But let's say now there's another task that, so you can squeeze in another task, you might not finish it. So that last hour isn't going to waste. You can still start another task and it will then list it here. But it won't show you any tasks after that because it won't fit in to today's tasks. It's only going to show you the tasks that you can possibly complete today. So you're not
Okay.
going to have, like now, if you've got 1,000 tasks allocated to you, it's not going to show you 1,000 tasks on this page. It's only
Yeah,
going to
it's
show
dependent
you,
on the man hours.
yeah, it's dependent on the estimated man hours, exactly. And
Okay.
likewise, now, like that task that finished early, um, it will automatically push a new task in to fill up that slot. If so, it's not like, oh well, I finished the work for today. Great, I can now go home early.
Now I'm
Uh,
done. Yeah.
it will,
Okay.
if it sees there's time remaining, it will put in another new task, and will notify the project manager and say, hey, or the department manager, hey, they finished early and we've managed to squeeze another task in for today, or vice
Yeah. No
versa.
rest. No
Yeah,
rest for the wicked.
yeah, or vice versa. If they finish over the deadline, they've run late, and now a
Push
task is,
over to the next.
yeah, if a task is now can't be put in to today, it will also
Yeah.
tell the
If
task
there's
manager, hey, so we finished late. This task now
yeah, the
can't
day
be
is
completed
gone.
today. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, Likewise, yeah, the department manager also gets all the notifications to say, so the moment we run over time, it actually sends a notification to the department manager to say, okay, this task is now over the estimated time. You might want to go and check up on why, or something like that. It does send a
Yes.
Okay.
notification. And yeah, as
Um,
I say, with everything, the project manager is also getting a lot of these notifications. So he can see the or get updates on the progress of things as well.
yeah, we just got an email. A task spec building is ready for your approval.
Yeah. So that would have been when I now stopped my timing. And because you're the department manager, you would have gotten that email to say you can go and check that task out and make sure you're happy or not. So yeah, you'll get a lot of those notifications depending on what's happening on the platform. Yeah, so that's just the today's list. You can also go and see the users tasks, the branches tasks. So in this case, it should show me well the exact same list because I'm part of both branches. I have both departments, and obviously they've all got filters that you can go around and choose what you're looking for. Now, in terms of recipes, so let's go back to here. So now let's say, I mean, this is fairly generic. Every programming project follows the same principle, and it often involves a lot of the same costs. So now, if I have to on another new schedule go and build all of this up again, that's going to take time. So why not make a recipe out of this so that I can use it quickly in the next work order? So that's where this create recipe comes in, and that's where the recipe role is needed to be able to create, edit, delete recipes.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, import recipe will still stay. But it's just you need the recipe role to be able to create the recipes and edit them. So in this case, if I click create recipe, I can give it a name. So let's just say programming. So what it will do is it will go and copy all the details of the costing, the tasks.
Of this specific work order, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it might even include some other details. But yeah, long story short, it creates the generic, or it copies all the generic stuff into a recipe.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's a bit scatterbrained, but there is this prioritize button. So once you've kicked off a work order, let's say, for example, this task or the tasks on this work order is urgent. Now, the whole principle of how tasks are allocated is first in, first out. So
Yes.
if I create a new work order, it's going to be put right at the back of the queue. Now, if I want to say, hey, hold on, this is actually more important, I can prioritize these tasks and it will reschedule everything and put these sort of in front of the
In
queue.
front.
With
Okay.
a few minor checks in that. It does, if you've prioritized the previous task before you prioritize this task, it will still let those go first before these.
Okay.
So yeah, you can either prioritize the entire work order, which will prioritize all the tasks linked to it, or on the task itself. Okay, well, on the task itself, there's also a prioritize button. And that allows you to also just quickly prioritize a specific task, not necessarily all the tasks.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyway, so recipes. So at this point now, there's the recipe. You can see it's showing me how many costing items I've added, what the cost is, and then how many tasks I've got. If I go in, I can go and modify it.
Yeah, you can still go and edit.
Yeah. So
if you
let's
want
say
something off or extra or
right. So yeah, let's say, I don't actually need ants granular anymore. I'm just going to remove that. I'm happy with those tasks. So I'll leave it as is. And yeah, there's an audit trail to show you things that have changed or not. You might have to refresh the page to get that to show properly. But likewise, you can change the name of the recipe. You can delete it. All of that.
so you can edit the entire recipe.
Yeah. Okay. I guess when Jordan made this change, we need to just make sure that this is hidden because it's not linked to a job card. So that's also something I've now just picked up. Yeah, so now let's say, we did create that second work order. So let's say we now want to, instead of going and building it up like we've done throughout today, let's just import the recipe. So if I go back to that other work, so you'll see the pricing, everything's there. Now the procurement module, I don't want to go and build up everything like I did. It's taking time. So I'm just going to import the recipe instead. There we go. So now all the items from that first work order, well, from that recipe gets placed in here. So you'll see that ants granular disappeared from the bottom. And likewise, there's all my tasks.
Okay, cool.
You still have to go and allocate users because that could be something different person
different
should
people,
now go and work on. But that's a lot of the building the relationships up and specifying descriptions and that's all taken care of for you. So you can immediately jump in and get going with it a lot quicker than before.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's almost like a repeat job thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very good way of doing it. And also the other thing is you've got to specify your markup still. That also technically is up to you to specify.
Okay.
Yeah. What else?
I think the designs are also something that you have to specify per project because sizing and color and all of that kind of stuff will change.
Yes. Yeah, so like the procurement module isn't going to have the same design as the stock keeping module or whatever we called the other one. So yeah, that doesn't come across either. Good point. I think otherwise that's kind of everything covered. Maybe just quickly go over the roles, just finally, just to make sure that I've covered all the roles and what each one does. Just need to get to the list of them. Okay, yeah. So the department, as I said, was to see the department and add departments, modify them. Work order is kind of everyone in manufacturing will get. That's the base to be able to see work orders. Costing is for the costing section, view section. That one I did explain. Department manager and project manager also, I think I covered. Procurement is just to see the costing, but you can't edit. Work order task, okay, that I didn't explain. So kind of work order task also will be given to everyone along with work order. That's to be able to see and work with work order tasks.
Yes.
And
Yeah, everybody will need that role
yeah,
with that was working with Manuflow. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
And
So
the
kind of
work order recipes.
always give work order and work order task to everyone. And then it's just the other things like departments, work order, costing, the manager roles and procurement. That one's sort of depending on who does what. You'll want to choose those carefully.
And the work order recipe role?
Oh yeah, work order recipe as well. That is the to show the recipe, to create and edit recipes.
So
But
that's
then,
also not for everyone. Or is it?
I don't know. I guess it depends on the branch, how they want to set it up. If they want to allow anyone to be able to create recipes, or do they only want a specific person to do that? I guess that's kind of a per branch decision.
Yeah, you'll need the role to be able to create and yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
but I do, if I remember correctly how I programmed it up, anyone can import a recipe. It's just the
everyone has access to it, to import it, but to create and edit it, you need that role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
They did it, Rox.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you've got any other questions, anything that's...
The approvals.
Oh, approvals. Okay, yeah, so that's not actually Manuflow related. It sort of goes hand in hand, but it's not linked directly to Manuflow. It's a separate module in itself. So all it's sort of doing is keeping track of what certain tasks have sort of accomplished. So yeah, I can quickly run through it. So let's say I want to go and build up. Okay, well, let's see. I think it was you.
I did it. That's why I'm asking.
That was me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just for sake of argument, let's go and add an approval process to a work order.
Yeah, Roxy hasn't really had training on or better show how this works.
No, let me show it now. Then it's at least done. So what this is it's a sort of checklist, basically, and a way to keep track of how you go through a process, who needs to do what, things like that. So, for example, the best way is to just show an example. So I want to create a new process on a work order.
So the concept here is that a person or a group of people need to agree that something is correct for it to move on. So if you're buying a house, you need to get your lawyers to say that, you know, a certain thing is
They're
correct.
happy.
Ticked off, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, now in a work order, as step one, we need to probably add designs. So, add.
Yeah. Don't look at Trudy's wording. The names I
notification-
chose.
So this is just sort of a thing to send you a notification if it's been installed on that rule for too long. So you don't, if you put in 0, it won't send the notification. But let's say if it's been sitting with this rule for 12 hours, it needs to send that person a notification, and it'll keep every time
Reminder.
sending a
Little kick up the bum.
yeah, basically. I'm not gonna add it because I don't want someone to get emails constantly because it's stuck there right now.
Okay.
You can obviously choose a position given there's only one slot at this point. There's two types of approval processes. There's either the complete, which basically is like saying, okay, I've done this thing, move it on. Or there's the approval rejection one person where let's say it needs to go to management first and they need to say, hey, okay, good job, you've done that right. Let's move it onwards. Or hold on, no, you forgot to do this or something, move it back. So in this case, I'm adding designs, it's more complete type. So I'll do that. I still want to add some JavaScript to hide these rejection buttons if it's on complete, just so that it's not confusing. But you can choose what the button's actually called. So in this case, I can say designs added. The rejection is not needed for the complete, so I can skip over it. The subject text is just the email subject that you get when something's moved into your rule or moved out of your rule that you're subscribed to. I'll get to the subscribing thing now. So this is just a custom subject. If you don't fill this in, it does use a default. I think you still have to fill in some sort of text for the button at this point. Okay, so there's step 1 in the process. Let's say now, also, let's just say add costing, just to show that step 2. So costing added. Okay, and technically you would probably also do one for the tasks have been added, but let's just jump right to now a different type. So now let's say it needs to go past management and say, hey, is this all set up correct? So verify setup correct, or something like that. So this would be an approval rejection. So correct and correct, something like that. And let's just add a subject, work order ready for your approval. No, sorry, this is approval. So work order is ready. Work order is not ready. Something like that. Now, it's a similar thing with how tasks work to add subscribers. So if you click into the design, you can go and obviously edit the rules depending on what you want, but you can also choose users that are linked to this process. So in the case of if you set the process to be up as a local branch, so like we did the brisk flow test branch, you'll only see users related to your branch. If you made this process a global, which shows for every branch, you can go and see all the users linked to the branches you are linked to, but you will never, if they're added, you will never see another person's sort of who's linked on a different branch. So even though they're linked to the same rule, you won't see that because you don't have permissions to see other branches. There's also a special type here of owner. And what that is whoever creates the work order is the owner and they will get a notification. Assuming that's the rule they need to be subscribed to. But just in this
you
case,
can assign multiple users.
Yeah. It's not necessary to just have one. You can choose multiple can do Trudy as well. So Trudy's going to get an email now.
So in the future, the other thing that we're going to add in is a voting system where one guy says yes, another guy says no, and then all the votes calculated together either moves it forward or moves it back.
Right.
Okay.
Also, just as another shortcut, if you know everyone that you want to add has a specific role, you can also click the role and it will find all those users and add them from your branch. That's just
Yeah,
also another
everyone that
shortcut
has
if you
that
know.
role, yeah.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
know that everyone has that role. And likewise,
Everyone that you want to assign and they have one specific, all of them have one specific role, you can go and choose that role, yeah.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, let me go and quickly just allocate. I'll allocate us to each thing just so I can show you the steps. So now at this point, let's say that process is complete. So if I now go to a work order, yep. So if I now refresh, it should build up. It should. It didn't. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I guess that's a bug then. Or maybe did I make it that it only happens when you create the work order? Let's try that. I can't remember if it does it on all existing ones or if it's only for new ones. Yeah, okay, so that's a bug. There should be a view section here that shows it for you.
All the rules.
Oh, wait. I just figured out why. No? No, I lie. Because I've got the approvals role. I'm just going to check. Make sure that I do have the right roles to see this.
You saw it on,
To ask what role must you have to see approvals? Because I didn't see an approval role.
Yeah, it's these notification manager and notification. That's why I can't see it. That's part of my change from yesterday.
okay, just to mention something, why it's the wording is different, Roxy. Me and Victor asked, the menu item was notifications, and Victor asked yesterday that it be changed to approvals, but the roles names didn't change.
Okay. Okay, that's why I'll give him a call.
Yeah. And we also added this notification role. That was the other thing. So that's why it wasn't showing now. That's not a bug. I forgot that I actually added that in yesterday. So you need to have a notification role to be able to see the notification info box.
The approvals, yeah.
Yeah, the
okay, but if we didn't have the notification role and on the job card you could see the approvals, but on the work order it didn't.
That's changed all now. You had to. It's now hides that info box all the time unless you've got the notification role.
I disagree with that though. For the pure reason is that I might not necessarily be part of the notification stream, but I might need to know where the process flow is in for that particular job.
Okay, I can change it back.
Everyone needs the.
Well, I think everybody needs to be able to see that notification, but it hides if there isn't any approval set up for that thing.
Yeah, and if you don't have the role, it'll hide as well.
Yeah, that's what Brent's saying.
I'm saying even if you don't have the role, I want you to be able to see it so I can. So I'm a salesperson. I'm not part of the development process, but I'm going to go and see where along the line it is, so that I can go and talk to someone and say, why didn't you approve it or whatever? Or I can see what the flow is. It's valuable information for people that are not necessarily part of that scheme.
Okay. So Jason?
So maybe the rule is only if I belong to that branch and, kind of scenario. If you want to really tighten it up.
Okay. Let me just log out and log back in again. Yeah, I can remove that whole check for notification. That's fine. Um,
Okay, but if it is available for everyone to see, will everyone be able to click approved or rejected or whatever the?
no.
No, only if you're actually assigned to that, i.e. you have the role or you're, as a user, assigned to that particular rule.
Yeah, with that subscriber option. That's basically what the subscriber does, is they have the ability to move things forward or not.
Okay.
Okay, so it still
Yeah, you
seems
need
like
to
it's
be
not
assigned to the rule to be able to approve or reject or
correct. Yeah. Okay, so maybe that change that I did yesterday broke something. Well, not maybe, it did break something. But yeah, I should be able to just remove it and then it should reset itself back to how it was before, and it should show.
I think on a job card it does show. It's on the work order, it doesn't show.
Maybe
That's what
then,
Roxy mentioned earlier.
oh, I
See it.
see. Oh, okay, there it's showing. Okay.
On the job
Uh,
cards it's showing, but not on the work orders.
So
Yeah, on the
maybe
job
when
card
Gordon
you
was
can see
modifying
it.
the info boxes, maybe he might have overwritten my query for the thing. Yeah, that's just another bug we'll have to go and take a look at. But yeah, okay, so like as Judy set up here with the schedule, so because we have been subscribed to the approval step, we have the ability to approve or reject. Although, yeah, I don't know why we would reject at step one. But yeah,
I
so
think it
you
was
can,
just I tested because I didn't know how it worked.
yeah, no, that's all good. But yeah, like if you click approve, it will move when the slide catches up. There we go. So you'll see now it's moved over to the next step. And likewise, if you
Which we are
reject it,
not
you would have gone
assigned.
to the previous step. And you
Yeah,
also
but we're
now
not
will get
as
notifications. So everyone in that subscribed to this rule would have gotten a notification to say that, okay, this job has moved out of your rule into the next step. Likewise, everyone now in the subscribe to step in progress will get a notification to say that, hey, this job has now moved to your step and you can do whatever it needs.
So for you guys, it might be in that document that you send to the clients, it might be a good idea to ask them what approval steps, quotes, and job cards and invoices move through. Who are the people that need to approve things before they can move forward, kind of scenario.
okay.
Then you get the flow from them, and then we can just set them up. Then it's done.
Yeah. And now,
So we're not subscribed to in progress. That's why we can't.
exactly. So I can see
approve.
that it's now sitting here, but I can't do anything because I'm not a subscriber on it. So at this point, it depends on how it was.
It also has its own little audit trail that you can see what happened with reasons.
Yeah, you showed me yesterday. That's cool.
Yeah, so the reasons are if you reject, it will give you a reason as to why it got moved back. And likewise, I do think we've added it also to this audit trail when it decides to do something.
Did you click it?
There we go. Might not have.
Ta-da.
So yeah, it'll also show there any actions that happens on the job or the work order or whatever. So you can sort of see the process it took, if it got approved or completed, etc. Yeah, that's basically it. At this point, the only limitation is, so if you've got a global setup, it will use it. If you've got a local setup on top of that object, so let's say I've got a global schedule, and then I want to now add a local schedule to this test, brisk flow test branch. It won't show the global anymore. It will show you the local version, or the local process that you set up. and you can only have one setup at the moment. So I can't have two processes set up for schedules on the brisk flow test branch. That's not set up right now. It will use the first one you created. So if you do try to add two and you don't see this box twice, that's just how we've got it at the moment. I know, Trudy, you did mention at some point you wanted to be able to do multiple, and then I would just show the info box.
No,
but
not necessarily multiples. I was worried about the fact if you add a new, not a rule, a new approval or whatever, it overrides the other one. Yeah, process. It overrides the previous one. I was just a bit worried about that.
Yeah, I think it uses the first one you set up. So if it finds there's two processes set up in the same way with different rules or whatever, it will use the first one that you ever set up. So if you do add another one, it's not going to ever actually be shown at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just sort of something just to keep in mind that you can.
It was me, sorry.
Oh.
Because I'm looking, I try to search for that job card number on my screen, and because next to the name there's a dash and then the job card number. But our job cards don't begin with JC, they begin with DS. So
Yes.
there's a bug there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you not find it with just the number without the letters?
Yeah, but the preview must not have JC in front of it. It must have DS.
Oh, okay.
The prefix of the job cards, it's the same thing that was on Monster.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying here with like if I have a duplicate work order, so if I were to create another one with work order risk flow test branch, it will use this one still first. Whichever one's higher up in the list, it will use that one on the view page.
And the reason for that is because not all of the steps have been approved.
No. This
Is that
the
why?
process. This is the processes. This isn't the rules. So as in, I'm saying you can't have multiple different processes.
At the moment, there's one process that you set up for the branches. Later on, we can introduce multiple processes, like as a phase 2.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, so that's basically sort of it. And then obviously you've got some reporting stuff if you've got the notification role. You can go and see any processes that are waiting for something for me to do. You can also see on a branch level all the things. Yeah, so you can see everything linked to that branch. You can also see all the rejections that have taken place and the reasons for it. Obviously, we haven't rejected yet, so there's nothing yet. And yeah, this rules here will only show up if you've got the notification manager role. So only the notification manager can set these up.
Okay, yeah, and assign users to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's basically it. It's just a way to keep track of where we are in a certain process.
Okay.
Okay, all good.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
Brent can...
branches, are you going to list them now, or should we list them on our side?
List them as in? List what?
The bugs.
Oh, yeah, maybe if you can list the cards of anything we did pick up. I didn't make a note now of exactly which things were a problem.
Yeah, ek ook nie.
Yeah,
No, it's fine. List them.
I'll list
them, but I've... sorry, Roxy.
Go.
So,
I did make some notes. So I'll list what I saw, and then we can take it from there.
okay.
yeah, just from a priorities point of view is Jason's working on server setup for TSFG. So no one's really using Manuflow and the notifications just yet. So I'd rather us finish that off, move TSFG over, then he can move back onto whatever those bugs are.
Okay.
Okay, and Brent, can we set up a similar training session for assets as well? For me and Roxy.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. What I'll do is I'll get Björn to work on that one with you guys. Björn and
Okay, 'cause-
Jono.
Yeah, that's also very confusing.
Yeah, that's going to get used quickly. So I think it's a good idea to set that up. Can I set it up for Thursday?
I'm good with Thursday.
Yeah, 100.
Okay, cool. I'll chat to Björn.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great stuff. So yeah,
Okay, thanks, Jason.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And then where do you want me to upload the recordings that I've now done?